Hey guys, we are in my 2006 Nissan XTerra. It currently has 267,910 miles. I haven't had any issues with this car. I've changed belts, hoses, things like that. But now I've got the code P1757, which is for the front brake solenoid in the transmission. Now you might think this is catastrophic, but actually it's not. On these vehicles, the valve body is known for like the terminals cracking inside. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull the transmission pan off. We're going to capture all that fluid. It's got 267,000, almost 268,000 miles. I've never changed the transmission fluid. I've owned this since about 150,000, maybe more. I don't believe it's ever been changed. So we're going to put that old fluid back in it. We are going to change the filter in the transmission. I'll show you guys that when we do it. But for now, here's that code, 1757. Here's the mileage. Now what that code means is that solenoid, that front brake solenoid, has lost connectivity, I guess, with the transmission control unit, the TCU. And physically what that means to the vehicle is when you're driving and it tries to shift into overdrive, it doesn't see that solenoid there, so it goes into limp mode, and then you're stuck in fourth gear. It's sort of a limp mode to get you to where you're going. Honestly, I guess I could probably just turn off overdrive and drive it around normally, just around town, and just not get on the interstate, but we're not going to do that. We're going to try to fix it. I've got the front end up on ramps. I may jack up the back and put on jack stands. I'm not sure. It's pretty high off the ground. I don't think I'll need it. But let's get under the car and get started. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and jack up the rear. There's enough room under there, but it's going to be better to have more room. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell to let you know when new videos are live. I like to leave the jack under there, have 3 points of contact along with the front ramps. But we're gonna get our tools, get under it, and get started. I did mention we will capture the fluid and reuse it. I bought a brand new container here to put it in. I didn't want anything contaminated in it. So we're going to drain this fluid, and I suspect it's going to smell pretty good. Doesn't appear to be any metal in it. And I was right, it smells delicious. Okay, we are down to a drip, so we will put the bolt back in and start taking the pan off. Now, I would assume they're all like this, Frontiers, XTerras, Pathfinders. These back two corner bolts are blocked by the transmission brace or mounting, so you can't use power tool on them unless, I guess, if you can get a power ratchet in here, but the power tool I'm using will not fit, and I don't feel like going and get my other tool just for 2 bolts. So just gonna get these out by hand the old-fashioned way. Okay, let's start getting this valve body out. You've got to take this plug off here. Just a little push pin. I'm not sure we need to take this one off. It looks like we need to. Yeah, we're gonna take that one off. If we don't, we'll just plug it back up. No big deal. I do have a picture of the bolts that do need to come out, and maybe I should be looking at that instead of just randomly taking out anything, right? I watched videos, then you get under here and it's a little intimidating. I've got more fluid dripping after I took that bolt out, so just going over my pictures here to see what I got, what I took out, what I need to take out. Once I found that last bolt to take out, the floodgates opened up and more fluid started coming out. So have your container ready to start catching it. Okay, I believe I have all the wires disconnected that I need. Just this one plug over here. I took the wire tie off of this bracket here. The one back there, bracket stays with it. Screws go through it. This is fairly loose. So okay, there's one bolt left. It appears to be this one right there. Okay, so we didn't need to take this off. Well, yeah. Okay, so there's one plug that we need to get to. In there, see that green one? In there, it's just a press and this whole valve body will come out. Valve body is out. I'm just letting it drain, letting the transmission drip right in there, and then we'll take it over to the table and start repairing. Let's take a look in the pan. The fluid doesn't look bad at all. So here it is on the table. We're going to use Duralast part number TF229. Got it from AutoZone. It's got a gasket and a new filter in there, pan gasket and a new filter. This is your forward brake solenoid. This is the one right in the middle, or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's the one right in the middle. The issues that it has, the connections where it is, they break inside. What we're going to do though first is take this one out before we take anything else apart. Take this one out, and it should ohm out at, I believe, 6.5 ohms. So we're going to check the solenoid itself first before we tear everything else apart.
Take a look around the channel. We've got a Ferrari series, we've got guitars, we've got cruises, we've got local cars and coffee. Take a look.
6.4. We are right where we need to be. So chances are issue is in here. You see these terminals that it connects to here? The problem is these crack. This appears to be cracked. I don't know how much play should be in that. I know there is some play, but that looks like a lot of play there. So we're going to take this apart, take all these out, and get to it. When you take these out, you want to put them in order that they were in the vehicle. So you want to put them back in the same place. So as you take them out, just line them up on your workspace in order. Now I've seen a lot of people that have trouble taking these out. I have not had an issue yet, but I've seen people have to pry these out, and so far it's been good for me. Just a little wiggle and pull, and they come right out. This one feels a little different, it's a little slippery, so might need to pry this one out. Nope, there we go. All right, so let's see if all of them are, yeah, all of them are like that. So that might be normal. We're gonna take these off, get to them, and find the issue. Okay, we have the TCU kind of separated from the valve body. What I need to do now is take this back cover off to get to everything underneath. And how I'm going to do that is take this small screwdriver and pry all the way around it. Okay guys, I've got the back cover off. It's over here. It is kind of siliconed or had adhesive down right here in these little areas, so you'll have to kind of put your screwdriver in there and kind of pop it up. There's little areas along the perimeter to kind of put in and pop up the edges, but it will be there's some adhesive here, so you'll have to pop it up. Now here's what I found. This is our solenoid connection here. When you push up, everything looks like it's connected, but look here, when you pull up, this one is broken, and that is exactly what I suspected was going to be the issue. Let's see if this side is broken. No, this side is good. This side broken. So what we're going to do, we're going to push this up, try to solder this wire, this connector, to that prong. Wrap it with some wire, solder it all together. I'm going to check continuity between here and there before we put it all back together, but I'll show you guys as we go. Here is how we're going to do it. I have a socket there pushing up on the terminal and revealing the broken connection. Well, here's how I did it. I wrapped the wire around the bottom prong here that was still connected, soldered that, then wrapped it around the top, kind of tied them together, then soldered that. I used a lot of heat. At one point the prongs actually did stick to each other without the use of the wire wrapping, but I wrapped it anyway and soldered it up anyway. Gonna run with this and see what happens. Okay, while it's apart, I went ahead and tested all the other connections that I've seen break on YouTube. So all these look fine. All the others look fine as well. Just gonna go through them, even though we were only getting the code on one of them, and test all of them. And look at that, we've got full connection. I did a test from here to here with continuity, moved it around, everything kept the connection. So we're going to run with this, and if it stops working again, we're just going to have to get a new unit, but I think we're going to be good for another 260,000 miles maybe. Putting the cover back on, I do get a little resistance in the place where we have the solder here. I expected that. It kind of stuck up a little bit more than it should have, but I'm just going to run with it. It closed for the most part. There's just a little bulge, not much. I'm going to run with it. It clicked into place. I'm just going to say that it's holding the connection where it needs to be. I almost forgot, we are going to change the filter on here. There are 3 of the bolts that go through the valve body, or the TCU, into the valve body and through it, with nuts on this side that hold the filter in place. So while that's off, we're just going to continue to take these off, put the new filter on, and put it all back together. New filter is in. The old one honestly didn't look bad at all. This little bracket keeps falling off. Slides right into that sensor or whatever it is, but I'll get that in a second. The TCU is back on. The 3 that have nuts on the other side holding the filter on are put in, plugged back up here. And now we're going to put the solenoids back on in order. Remember, you laid them out the way that they need to go in, put them back in order. Okay, the valve body is all back together. Solenoids are in. Everything went in just fine. I felt like maybe taking this one out again to see if the connection stayed, but I don't want to risk it. I put it in. We're just going to leave it and run with it. Installation is just opposite of removal. So let's get to it. We are back under the vehicle. It's time to get the valve body back into the transmission. I do have this green plug to plug in way up here, and then we'll start bolting everything back together.
You like cars, you like guitars, you like taking trips, you like local cruises, look around on the channel. We've got videos for all of that.
I had to refer back to a picture I took before I took bolts out to make sure I was putting them all back in the right spot. Also had to loosen the whole thing up to make a couple of the bolts line up with their holes. So all that's in. So got my plug back. I have this one unplugged so I can get to this bolt. But do that. Take a picture before you take any bolts out, just to make sure they go back in the right spot. Each one has a different head. There's a few that are a different color. There are different markings on the different heads. So in your picture, make sure you can see the head of the bolt and where it goes. All right, that seems to be it. Okay, valve body is back in. I've double checked and triple checked all my electrical connections, made sure all the bolt heads were tight and I can't move any of them. I'm gonna put the pan back on. I'm not gonna use the new gasket. The old one seems to be fine. Just gonna clean up this mating surface with a towel, put the pan back on. You don't need to see that, that's boring. Then I'll put the old fluid back in. So here's what we're gonna do. I've got a funnel in the fill tube. I've got a paint strainer in the funnel. I used a brand new container to capture the fluid, so we shouldn't have any issues with contamination, but this is just a little insurance. So we'll fill it up, we'll check it when I'm done. We are full, and look what this strainer caught. It is full of just small particulates. Some it seems like maybe some gasket material. It's not horrible. Some of that actually could have come from the new plastic in the container, I suppose, but at least we caught it. I checked for leaks at the pan. Everything's fine. We're going to take it off the jack stands, start it up, roll it around, see what happens. We are inside. I've cleared the codes. Let's put it in reverse. We have reverse. We always did. That never went away. Now I'm assuming we will probably need to top it off at some point, because I didn't capture all the fluid. You know, you try to, but I'm sure some got away. In fact, I know some got away, but we just don't know how much yet. Like I said earlier, the issue would happen when it would try to shift into overdrive. It would get stuck in fourth and limp mode. So here we go. I believe that was third gear. All right, here we go, long straightaway. Okay guys, transmission is repaired, drives, shifts perfectly. I'm going to consider this a free repair. I bought a filter and a gasket, didn't use the gasket. Filter really didn't need to be changed. Honestly, this would have cost probably thousands of dollars if I brought it to a transmission shop. No transmission shop that I know of would have taken that TCU apart and repaired the terminal. They would have charged you for a new one. They would have probably got one from Nissan. That would have been hundreds of dollars plus their labor. You got to learn how to do these things yourself, and that will save you some money. When you drive old vehicles with 200,000 plus miles on it, you have to do some things yourself. So I'm going to check the fluid, probably add a little bit. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, give the video a like. Just remember, whatever you have, even if it's a 200 plus thousand mile Nissan XTerra, just drive it.